Good morning, everyone. We're about to start this public hearing. Again, good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning. On behalf of the members of this committee, the executive appointment and government investigation, would like to welcome governor's representative. I believe there's a new person, sir. For the record, what is your name? I'm sorry I didn't get the name of the representative earlier. It's my apology.
Richard Barriers.
Huh?
Richard Barriers.
Ready now. Ready now. You're supposed to put the name before me. The governor's representative, Mr. Richard Barrelas, is this correct? Barrios? Barrelas. Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining us this morning, and elected officials, dignitaries, and members of the public, most especially the appointee of the administration, Mr. M Tudela. And before we proceed forward with this public hearing, let me first introduce the members of this committee. To my right side of the aisle is the floor leader of the Senate, Senator Vinny Sablan from the 3rd Senatorial District, Saipan. And next to him is Senator Carol King Neighbors from the 2nd Senatorial District, Tinian. And to my left side of the aisle is the Vice President of the Senate, Senator Justo Kidigua from the 3rd Senatorial District, Saipan. And I'm the chairman of this committee, Senator Francisco Q. Cruz from the 2nd Senatorial District, Tinian. I would also like to announce a couple of things in the interest of informational purposes regarding code of conduct during this public hearing. Today, the members of this committee are conducting a public hearing on the appointment of Mr. Jesus M Tudela to serve as a member of the Northern Marianas College Board of Regents to represent the island of Saipan. The public will be invited to make comments as to whether you support or oppose the appointee before us this morning. However, any comments beyond the facts of the appointee or comments that are not directly related with this public hearing will not be entertained, and such comment will be removed from the record. At the same time, please observe minimum noises in disrupting this hearing process, and please turn your electronic to a silent mode. Thank you. Let us now begin. This public hearing is now in session. Today is July 7, 2022, at approximately 10:10 in the morning here in the Senate Chamber, Capitol Hill, Saipan. This is a public hearing regarding the appointment of Mr. Jesus M Tudela by Governor Ralph DeLongre Torres to serve as a member of the Northern Marianas College Board of Regents to represent the island of Saipan. Pursuant to 3 CMC, Section 1311, Ms. Jolene P. Duenas Tagobel will be our clerk for this hearing. Mr. Benter Lahi, with our Sergeant at Arms, and Mr. Jonathan Diaz will be in charge with the IT. And Mr. Joe A. Bermudez will be our legal counsel and will all serve accordingly. At this time, I would like to ask Ms. Tagobel to please call the roll.
Senator Francisco Q. Cruz,
Here.
Senator Victor B. Hokop, Senator Carl R. King Neighbors,
Here.
Senator Justo S. Kidigua, Senator Vinny F. Sablan,
Gaya.
Mr. Chairman, 4 members are present, 1 member is absent.
Thank you, Jolene. With 4 members present, we have the number to proceed with this public hearing. However, the Vice Chairman of this committee, Senator Victor B. Hokuk, from the 1st Senatorial District, is excused for this hearing. At this time, do I hear a motion to adopt our agenda?
Motion to adopt today's meeting agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
There's a motion and what's seconded for the adoption of our agenda for this public hearing. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Sarge, can you please escort the governor's rep and the appointed to the chamber? And before you introduce the appointee to the committee, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Buenas, Hafide, and good morning, Chairman Cruz and the honorable members of this committee. For the record, my name is Richard Balajadia, representative for the Office of the Governor. On behalf of Governor Ralph de Leon Guerrero Torres, I thank you for the opportunity to come and testify before you today. I am here to introduce the Governor's nominee for the Northern Marianas College Board of Regents, Mr. Jesse M Tedella. Mr. Tudela is a respected health professional and educator with over 20 years of experience, serving as a classroom teacher at Marianas High School, as well as becoming a vice principal and a principal for Saipan Southern High School. At the same time, he was a staff-certified registered respiratory therapist at the Commonwealth Health Center, and prior to his return to Saipan, worked the same position at the St. Francis Medical Center at Liliha in Honolulu, Hawaii. Mr. Tudela has a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from the University of Hawaii at Manoa, a Master's in Education and International Studies from Framingham State College, and is currently pursuing a Doctor's in Education and Leadership Healthcare for the Nebraska Methodist College. He currently works for the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation, where he served many roles throughout the years, from manager of the Respiratory Care Department to the Director of Hospital Services, Deputy Chief Operations Officer, and as of right now, the Chief of Ancillary Services. Governor Torres places his full trust and confidence in Mr. Tudela to continue to serve in the Northern Marianas College Board of Regents. I know he stands ready to answer your questions and present his plans for the future. His long history of professional experience, credentials, and commitment to serving the Commonwealth in this capacity makes him a viable candidate, and we kindly ask for your expeditious approval. Thank you, Jesus Masi Zengiliso, for the opportunity to introduce him to this august body. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. And before I recognize the governor's appointee, I would like to ask the clerk to administer the oath. Mr. Tudela, can you please stand and raise your right hand?
Mr. Jesus Masca Tudela, you do solemnly swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
Okay, Jolene. Yes. Anything? Yes. Do you need anything?
I'm sorry.
Okay, Mr. Trella, I know that you have submitted all required documents by this committee, but if you have anything else in addition to the submission of required documents that you wish to share with the committee this morning, you have the floor, but please state your name for the record before you proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Jesus, better known as Jesse M Tudela, Jesse Musca Tudela, and I have no further records to submit. We'll proceed with my opening statement.
Do you have any additional or you don't wish to say? Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Tudela. And before I allow the general public that are in the gallery to make comments whether you support or not in support. Mr. Tedella, I'm sorry, I thought you don't have anything else to share with us this morning. But if you have anything to share with us in addition to the required documents, no, to this committee, you have the floor to say whatever you wish to say this morning in regards to your appointment. But please state your name for the record. That's what I mentioned earlier. But please go ahead and proceed with your statement that you wish to share with this committee this morning. Thank you.
My apologies, Senator Cruz, Chair of the Committee on Executive Appointments and Government Investigations. For the record, my name is Jesus, better known as Jesse Tudela. And yes, I do have a personal statement, opening statement. All my records have been submitted to the governor's office and I'd like to proceed. Buenas day, honorable senators for the Committee on Executive Appointments and Government Investigations. Chairperson Senator Francisco Q. Cruz, Senator Vincent Sablon, Senator Carl Neighbors, and Senator Histu Kitagua. As I said, my name is Jesus Jesse Tudela, and I was a member of the Board of Regents, which my term ended on May 29, 2022. I am here today for my public hearing seeking reconfirmation by the Senate to serve on the Northern Marianas College NMC Board of Regents for another 4 years. My reason for pursuing another 4-year term is to continue serving and contributing to our only community college on the brink of breaking ground for the new NMC. I want to finish what our current Board of Regents started in making a difference at NMC, including the most recent accomplishment of an 8-year accreditation. I want to remain a proactive and vital Board or Regent member in ensuring the NMC Facilities Master Plan has flexible and resilient facilities for our future buildings, including integrating technology for remote services and appropriate ventilation for future pandemics. I want to continue to be an instrumental stakeholder in the new NMC coming to fruition and the educational investment for the community to flourish. I believe that an educated community with many college graduates with degrees is healthier because they tend to promote causes and healthy lifestyles. I want to be one of the educational policymakers who will make our senior community improve its workforce development and finances for healthcare. More importantly, it will make it a happier, healthier, and more productive place to live. If you are wondering what I bring to the NMC Board of Regents, it will be summed up in one word: grit. I have guts to take on the required fiduciary duty as an NMC regent, as I did in my first term. I have resilience in helping NMC weather and grow into a new NMC. I have initiatives to make NMC better in carrying out its mission and vision. Lastly, I have tenacity to make NMC great in the Pacific region and a world-renowned educational institution. All because I have the education, the experience as an educator, healthcare administrator, and board of regent, and of course, grit. Thank you. Jesus Maasi Giliso.
Thank you, Mr. Tedella, for that well-said testimony. And before I allow the members of the general public to participate in this public hearing, first I would like to recognize those that are invited to participate on this public hearing. First on the list, the Honorable Mayor David M. Apatang from the LM7. Any staff from that office that is here? No one? And let the record reflect that there's no one from the office of Mayor Apatang. The Honorable Mayor Vincent Santos of the Northern Island. Anyone from the Northern Island Mayor's office? None? Let the record reflect that there's no one from the Northern Island Mayor's office. the 16 Saipan and Northern Ireland Municipal Council. Anyone from that office or member of the 16 Saipan Municipal Council? No one? Let the record reflect that there's no one from that office nor member of the 16 Saipan and Northern Ireland Municipal Council. The Northern Marianas College, President Gavin de Guerrero. You can come forward, sir. I know that we received some letters, but if any of the board region after the president testify, you're welcome to come forward and deliver your testimony. And before you proceed, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman Cruz and members of the Senate Committee on Executive Appointments and Government Investigations. My name is Gavin de Guerrero, and I am honored to serve our community as the president of Northern Marianas College. I thank you for this opportunity to speak before you today in support of the appointment of Jesus Masca Tudela to serve as a member of the Northern Marianas College Board of Regents. The Northern Marianas College Board of Regents plays a vital role as it sets the policies that guide all employees and students and leads the strategic direction of the institution. Despite typhoons, economic turbulence, and a global pandemic, the board has led the college in the past few years with plans for new facilities, the launch of a new strategic master plan, and a historic accreditation term of 8 years, the longest in the college's history. During that time as a regent, Mr. Jesus Masca Tudela has been instrumental in that progress. In fact, Mr. Tudela was there when it all started in 2018. While attending a conference in New York City in August with newly appointed interim president Frankie Liptico, they learned about the devastation that Super Typhoon Yutu was wreaking on the CNMI and on the college. So without hesitation, they flew right back home to lead recovery and rebuilding efforts. Since then, Mr. Tudela and his fellow regents have not slowed down, leveraging community resources to bring in almost $100 million in funding for new facilities, completing a successful presidential search process, and pushing through with a new strategic master plan that focuses on taking care of our community, taking care of our resources, and taking care of our people. None of this comes as a surprise, given Mr. Tudela's long-standing commitment to education in our community. In education, he has taught numerous classes, led 2 schools, and even pursued his own higher education, leading to his current efforts to earn an education doctorate. In the community, he has served in various healthcare leadership positions, initiated various public healthcare programs, and led our islands through a global pandemic. For his efforts, he has been recognized as a Teacher of the Year, a Claes Nobel Educator of Distinction, and a COVID-19 Heroes Awardee. More recently, Mr. Tudela has taken the lead in developing the college's PROA Promise initiative, which will help ensure affordable education through a last dollar scholarship, increase graduation rates with wraparound student support services, and meet workforce needs by improving job placement processes as students graduate. All of this stems from his commitment, as he put it, to making the CNMI, quote, a happier, healthy, and more productive place to live. For these reasons, I ask that members of this Senate committee support his appointment during this confirmation process. In closing, Northern Marianas College has a rich legacy of providing high-quality, affordable, and accessible educational programs and services for the individual and the people of the Commonwealth. Through it all, the college PROA has endured countless challenges, proving that we are PROA strong. And in our strength, in our endurance, and in our legacy, we have helped thousands of students and countless others in our community lead productive, meaningful, fruitful lives. We trust that the extensive experience and expertise of Mr. Jesus Masca Tudela will help us sail ahead with a renewed focus on learning, lifting the tide for everyone. Again, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak this morning in support of Mr. Tudela.
Thank you, President Guerrero. Any member of the region?
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman Cruz, Senator Sablan, Senator King Neighbors, and Senator Kutula. My name is Charles V Sepeda. I'm the current chairman of the Board of Regents. And on behalf of the Board of Regents, we are here in support of the nominee, Regent, I still call him Regent, Jesse Jesus M Tudela. He has been very supportive and like he said earlier, he has a lot of grit and ready to work while he was a Board of Regents in the past few years. Regent Tedella has been very active in all of our Board of Regents endurement and challenges that we go through, including, as been mentioned, getting a new president on board. And those were long, extensive hours that he spent in making sure that we select the right individual for the presidency. Not only that, he has attended a lot of the trainings and seminars that are necessary to be in the Board of Regents, to be a part of the Board of Regents. And we feel that he brings in a lot to the table. He is not afraid to speak his mind amongst the Board of Regents, but he also understands how the majority decision benefits everyone in the college. But with that, there are times when he is what we as a Board of Regents leave it up to like a final final vote. Personally, I want to say that Regent Tudela has been very supportive in the community as a personal friend. We spend a lot of time together through the travels, but also out in the community, and a strong individual in the community, well educated, as he's want to congratulate him in getting his doctor's degree and in a couple weeks, hopefully. But yes, on behalf of the Board of Regents, we support the nominee, Mr. Jesus M Tudela, and thank you for the time.
Thank you, Chairman Sepeda. Any other region that wishes to come forward? If not, we will consider the chairman's statement on behalf of the region. And before I open the floor for the members of the general public this year to deliver testimony, whether you're in support or not in support, you're free to come forward and deliver testimony. But before you proceed with your testimony, please you state your name for the record. Public comment is now open.
Alfred Tiro, and good morning, Chairman Cruz and the honorable members of this committee. Being back here, it feels like coming back home with old friends. Senator King Neighbors, Senator Sablan, Senator Kirigua, good morning. For the record, my name is Kevin Bautista. Here from the Northern Rhinos College, but I'm here today speaking in my personal capacity in support of our Honorable Governor Ralph de Leon Guerrero Torres' nominee for the Board of Regents, Mr. Jesus Mosca Tudela. A well-educated and highly accomplished public servant, Mr. Tudela is a highly regarded professional here in CNMI with years of extensive experience serving as an educator, a school administrator, a registered respiratory therapist, and as a public health and hospital administrator. On a personal note, the first time I met Mr. Tudela was actually on the basketball court, in which he led both the Southern Sonics and Cypress Southern High School varsity basketball team. My first impression was his passion for his students and his commitment to fostering their development as well-rounded individuals. My second interaction with Mr. Tudela was when I was serving Governor Torres at the Office of the Governor and worked with him through his capacity as a public health administrator at CHEC. That collaborative work reached its peak during our COVID-19 pandemic, where he served as our Commonwealth's testing coordinator.
Under his leadership with CHEC CEO Esther Muña and the COVID-19 task force led by Chairman Warren Villagomez, the CNMI was one of the first jurisdictions in the United States to conduct a strong community testing operation, leading to early detection of the virus and the eventual protection of our vulnerable population from exposure and severe illness, which is one of the reasons why we had one of the most successful operations out of any U.S. jurisdiction. This also led him to receive a COVID-19 Hero Award by the Pacific Island Health Officers Association, or PHOA. Moreover, Mr. Tudela continues to be committed to education, serving as a regent, helping our college navigate toward a new campus and new academic programs, while he himself pursuing a doctorate in education and leadership healthcare. His long list of accomplishments and credentials make him a viable candidate to once again serve on the NMC Board of Regents. I think we can all agree that education is at the heart of our community's priorities, and this community leader intends to work with our Board of Regents, our President, Dr. Gavin de Leon Guerrero, and our leadership team in rebuilding NMC and accomplishing the goals of the CNMI's institution of higher learning. He, along with our great Board of Regents, understand that not just the Commonwealth, but the whole world is growing and rapidly changing. To keep up with the demands of increased globalization and an up and down economy, especially with the context of our unprecedented economic circumstances by the pandemic. And we can all agree here, senators and educational administrators, that we need a stronger local workforce, we need an educated community, and we need an innovative approach to managing our labor issues, our educational issues, and our economy. And Regent Tudela, together with our NMC Board of Regents, Dr. G, our NMC leadership and staff, will ensure that we meet this important goal for the forward progress of our entire Commonwealth on all 3 senatorial districts. I fully support his nomination and ask this August body for its expeditious approval. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Bautista. Is still open for public comment? Anyone else? Once I close public comment, we will not go back to public comment. So this is the opportunity that any member in the gallery wishes to come forward. No one else? Okay, public comment is now closed. At this time, I'd like to ask Jolene to acknowledge those letters of support or not in support.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Senate EHI Committee, Mr. Tedella, and members of the general public, in addition to the oral testimonies received today on the executive appointment of Mr. Jesus Mosca Tedella to serve as a member of the Northern Marianas College Board of Regents, please be advised of one additional written testimony officially received in support of the appointee from Mr. Frankie M. Elliptical, Vice President, Northern Marianas College Office of Administration and Advancement. At this time, no written testimony in opposition to the executive appointment of the appointee has been received by the committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Jolene. At this time, I'd like to entertain the members of this committee to raise question or concern in regards to the appointment of Mr. Tudela. At this time, I'd like to recognize the floor leader of the Senate, Senator Vinny Sablan from the island of Saipan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to all who are present here in the chamber and all that are viewing us on our media outlets. I'd like to give an acknowledgement to the NMC Board of Regents, Regent Chairman Sepeda, Regent Torres, and Regent Sablan. Also welcome Dr. G and Mr. Atto, Mr. Bautista for joining us today. As I sat here listening to the testimonies and the personal testimony of Mr. Tudela, I just was thinking back to walking the campus, the NMC campus as a student, and just reminiscing on all the classes that that I took as an NMC student. I remember once being advised by, or I think for several years being advised by Mr. Atto, who was a staffer at NMC back then. I remember taking courses with Regent Sablan back there. So just some fun facts. And the funnest fact, I remember childhood classmate Regent Tudela, and I share that story just to really kind of hone in on what kind of professionals and citizens that NMC has produced in the past and that NMC continues to produce currently and will produce in the future. Good morning, Mr. Tedella, Regent Tedella. Thank you for accepting the renomination to continue your service as a Board of Regent at NMC. I really appreciate your opening statement that you shared with us and your desire to be a part of the plans and success of NMC in the NMC Facilities Master Plan and all the other programs and plans that NMC has for our community. And I also want to take this time to really congratulate NMC, the leadership and the board with the recent 8-year accreditation. That's really great, and we're really appreciative of all the work and efforts that that has taken place to get here today. So, and I know there's a lot of work ahead for the NMC Regents, for the NMC leadership and staff. I have no questions for you. You know, it's no secret we've been seeing a lot of things happening with NMC, and I'm really happy with the leadership, our new president, Dr. G, and really seeing Dr. G rebuilding and restructuring his leadership, bringing back Mr. Attal and Mr. Bautista and other staff and leaders of NMC. So I have no questions for you. I just want to say thank you for accepting the renomination. I know NMC is in good hands, and I wish that we continue to produce productive citizens and professionals in our CNMI. So with that said, Mr. Chairman, I have no questions for the nominee. I yield my time.
Thank you, Floor Leader. Recognize Senator Carl Neighbors from the island of Tinian.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members, President, and all who are here today for this a hearing. I also like to thank Mr. Tedella. Thank you so much for accepting the renomination. Echoing what Floor Leader Sablan was saying, going back to some of the things that you've already done and accomplished. You said in your testimony you were gritty, and we've worked together before during the U2 response and during the COVID response, and those words couldn't be more fitting. At those times, there really wasn't a playbook, and through all the phone conversations, logistics, support, you were always a calming tone and presence in those crucial, pivotal moments for the CNMI. Those stories might never be told, but thank you so much for what you've done, and your COVID award is greatly deserved. I don't have. I will ask a question. You don't have to answer it, but it's more an offer. How do you think NMC can better serve the community, and what can we as a government do to support those efforts?
Thank you, Senator Neighbors, for that question. Well, first and foremost, I know we're revisiting our mission and vision statements for NMC. So it starts there. I believe NMC can flourish more with some restructuring that already Dr. G has started. Organizational chart is also in the works. So we start from there, fixing our own house inside before extending out to the community. And for the community, it's NMC offering more programs. As we can see from the pandemic that we had, there's plans now for having a bachelor's degree program for nursing at NMC. So that's in the works as well. There's other programs and initiatives that NMC leadership is also reviewing and discussing at this moment. So the government support that NMC will need is continuing funding for all its efforts, especially programs and initiatives to increase workforce development. And again, just giving the community opportunity to get an education so that they can better their lives or better themselves, so that our cinema can be great again. It starts with education, no doubt about it, because it opens many doors. So all we ask as a former NMC Board of Regent and hopefully reconfirm is continuing the funding source to NMC. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I know I'd also like to commend NMC for their bold and progressive ways to assist qualified individuals to seek and get financial aid approved. That's a big step for our local people, or the people that are eligible. Period. Secondly, kind of to piggyback off of the nursing degrees that you guys would like to that you're offering now, what other degrees would you like to see NMC offer in the future?
Thank you for that. So, yes, with the Pro Our Promise initiative that just recently been launched in April for the upcoming year, I like and I'm hoping more programs will be available. Like most recently for our Pacific mini games, maybe in the field of broadcasting and filming can be jump started or lunch. And then in the other degrees besides bachelor's degree in nursing, maybe a certificate as a pharmacy technician, for example, because we all need medications. So pharmacists need the assistance from pharmacy technicians. So who knows, a short pharmacy technician program like many other states have. It could be in collaboration with another school that has an online program already. It could be under not CREASE, but the other program NMC has. I forget the name. That could be collaborative. That's how I got my master's degree, of course, from Framingham State College through that program. Dr. G, can you tell me
Like a sister school?
Yes, CDI, there you go, Community Development Institute. That could be another area where brings in programs for the community so that they could get, an education or an opportunity to better themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tedella. Again, thank you so much for accepting the renomination. And that's all I have. Read it back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Neighbors. Now I'd like to recognize the Vice President of the Senate, Senator Justo Kirigua from the island of Saipan.
Just Mossy, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Tedella and members of NMC family. I also would like to join my colleagues in thanking you for accepting the renomination to continue serving with the board of the other members of the Board of Regents. And I understand fully that you're a full-time employee of one of the most important and biggest agency in our government. Yet you still find time to dedicate your time in trying to assist NMC in pursuing and improving not only the programs but the infrastructure of our only post-secondary institution in the CNMI. I really don't have any questions for you. However, I would like to commend you and the other members of the Regents and the the president and the staff of NMC for finally getting the full accreditation 8 years for NMC. And everybody knows that it's been a struggle for NMC for decades. I remembered when I was serving in the House, I started in 2004. That was a big issue, the accreditation. And I'm so happy that eventually that issue is settled, and that will give confidence to our students and our community that they're going to an institution that is fully accredited. Also, I am very thankful that NMC as a family took extra effort to try and secure funding for to rebuild NMC, and is very successful in securing the funding, and that again is an added significant progress, which will put NMC as an institution for higher education for our future students and community members. And I would also like to extend and commend NMC for finally, this also has been issues in the past, working with other agencies, other education institutions like PSS, now the Northern Marianas Technical Institute, so that we can find common grounds to continue offering programs for our students to continue from their pursuit of interests at NMC. And there are so many things that I can list to commend NMC, but with this major significance, I think I will stop with that. And once again, I commend NMC and you also serving in the last years for part of the progress. And I hope that you continue with the other Board of Regents and in supporting the NMC, the president and his staff in pursuing and pushing programs to advance the education of our students in the CNMI, and not only our students here, but hopefully attracting other students from other places, Micronesia or beyond Micronesia. And finally, I'm so happy that the master plan for NMC is in progress, or if it's not finished. That also has been a long issue with NMC, and I'm happy that finally it's getting there. And this is all for our students and our community members. So with that, I thank you again, Mr. Tedella, for picking up this additional responsibility. And everybody knows that this is not actually a paid, a salary service that the regions, the Board of Regents are doing. It's all more of a voluntary service that you're doing because of your love of our CNMI students and community. And with that, I look forward to seeing more progress, bigger progress, and I know that with the new president, he has a good staff with the support of the Board of Regents. I look forward for a lot of good things to happen at NMC. And once again, thank you very much. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you, Vice President. President. Good morning again, Mr. Tudela. I appreciate also accepting your reappointment by the administration. I know this is not a paying position, but rather a commitment to continue to serve our institution in that capacity. Actually, I wasn't going to ask any question. I know that the NMC is doing good, even with the heat of this pandemic. The NMC continue to strive and continue to serve our public in regards to education. I just want to ask if there's in the event that there's a problem in NMC. I know that key staff do not leave behind issues for that matter to become big, but rather to resolve matters, right, at NMC. That's what management is supposed to be. The question that I would like to pose here is in regards to an issue that involve LB staff that I am expecting that to be addressed and resolved. But up to now, I address matters, even though it's a misunderstanding, matters between LB and NMC. I expect matters to be resolved rather than not resolved, because eventually small problem will rise to big problem. And we don't want to have bad relationship between the Senate and NMC. We want to have good relationships so we can work hard to prevent misunderstanding, and we don't have to continue to have misunderstanding, because we want to concentrate in making sure that students are taken care of with education. So I ask that the matters to be addressed. Misunderstanding whether who's at fault. And I know that you're wondering now what is the problem or what is the issue. The issue here is the member of the general public requests assistance through my office to find out whether there's a program that can assist farmers or ranchers, whether they have at NMC. And I was told that there's a program there. So my point here is, if there's no program or no longer any program to assist farmers or ranchers, then I think it is very easy to say there's nothing program, rather than arguing between LB staff and NMC staff over the phone. And it's very bothersome to know that it's a very simple matter that can be resolved very peacefully and easily. It's not addressed as of this time, because if it's addressed, I won't know. And I'm pretty sure professionals will CC copy to the person, which is me, that I am trying to address it and have that matter be resolved once and for all. Because LB staff is not directly a staff of my office, but rather they're assisting each member of, when it comes to necessity or important issue that a senatorial district needs to address something. This is our job, is to address matters pertaining to the concern of our members of the general public. So I ask that if that can be addressed in writing, so that whenever we ask our staff to address or request a follow-up inquiry, our staff will not be uncomfortable to further assist a member of the Senate because of that small problem that haven't been resolved. And I ask, and I'm glad the president and the chairman of the region, I know that I discussed this back in Tinian, and I wasn't expecting that this will not be addressed. So I humbly ask, that can this be addressed so that the staff will not feel that he did something that is not, that is something, they feel that he did something wrong, that is not really an issue, but rather just following requests from a member of the Senate. And like I said, if there's no program, very simple, just tell the caller that there's no program, but not to give an attitude on the phone. And it's like we're trying, we're not trying to have to build an enemy between NMC and any member of the Senate, but rather we're just addressing public's concern, and it's very simple. We're not asking anything that is very difficult for NMC to provide or to respond. But rather just a simple. And I'm humbly asking Mr. President and Chairman of the region and board and members of the region to please address this matter once and for all, so that, and I ask that I think it should be in writing so that people that are affected by this incident should understand that it's it's something that needs to be resolved, and rather than continue to feel uncomfortable of asking, or inquiring something that from that entity, the NMC. And again, I continue to support this appointment and another appointment that will benefit the members of the general public. But only simple thing that needs, and I guess I don't have to come up here publicly. This is publicly now, right now. I have no choice but to address this publicly. So please address the matter. If you're given the blessing by this body, please sit down and talk to the president and the region to address simple matters that will not escalate to higher level. So again, I appreciate your time, and I hope that any problem in the future will not be ignored, but rather be addressed and not come to this point. Thank you. Any other members that wish to recognize Vice President of the Senate?
Message most, Mr. President. This is not anything that have to do with the questions for NMC, but I would like to ask perhaps the president and the chairman of the Board of Regents, because NMC asked for the second time if we can amend the statute that requires the budget to offset on the funding that you receive. And we have done that when I first came in, and it was never passed by the House. We have done it again, and it's sitting in the House, and perhaps NMC can justify more to the House members why that thing is necessary to remove from the statute. And I believe in that same legislation, it also asks to exempt NMC from the 1% public auditor requirement. So I again ask the president and the chairman to seek audience with the House and explain probably the bill. The explanation on the bill maybe is not enough to convince them why that is necessary. And with NMC being the one explaining the necessity to amend that the current statute, might convince the House to pass it, so we can once and for all save those funding, like Mr. Tudela said when the question was asked by Senator King Neighbors, what can you do and what the legislature can do? And that part the legislature can do is to amend the current statute. and remove the offset in during the budgeting of NMC and the 1%, which shall remain with NMC for additional funding. So with that, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, please see to it that you seek audience with the House. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice President. Any other member before we proceed forward? Okay, at this time, public comments are well taken. Let the record reflect that there are also written testimonies submitted from individuals in support of the appointee before this committee, and will be included in the Senate Standing Committee recommendation report, along with all oral testimonies to be forwarded before the full Senate members in consideration for confirmation or rejection. And before we adjourn, I would like to extend, on behalf of the members of this committee, a sincere appreciation and gratitude to Governor Torres' representative, Mr. Richard. What's his last name? Sorry. I'm sorry that I lost your last name, but and the governor's appointee, Mr. M Tudela, the members of, especially the members of the general public, for your participation during this public hearing. And we certainly hope that we continue this dialogue of communication between us elected officials and the public to keep you abreast and informed of our current and future Senate hearings ahead that relates to public best interest. This concludes this public hearing for today. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn today's public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
There's a motion for adjournment and was seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. This public hearing is now adjourned. Thank you. What did I put?